Lavender would like to say a big thank you for helping her hit 30,000 on Instagram. She's very proud of herself. Welcome to another video, another story time. I was thinking, would you guys be interested in seeing segments of little mini story times? That's kind of what today's video is. It's none of these are stories on their own, but it's just a collection of short stories, if you will. I don't know what kind of accent that was. It was not an attempt at anything in particular.
Kind of lame.
She's nothing if not honest, ladies and gentlemen.
Your lipstick is really nice. Gorgeous color, yeah.
Thank you.
Peach.
Thank you.
Very becoming.
So, if you like my story times, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section below if you'd like series of mini story times, maybe a collection of short stories about Molly getting denied access or discriminated against. Exciting things like that, let me know. But this video, as you see from the title, is my cringy celebrity encounters, and I've had plenty. But I recently, a couple months back, shared this story, which is my truly most embarrassing.
I'm gonna get some water.
Okay, glad my story is riveting enough already to keep you. That was my embarrassing, most embarrassing moment ever, perhaps, that I had with Cody Simpson, otherwise known as Miley Cyrus's ex-boyfriend. I have many more where that came from. So I, for context, started touring, and on these tours that I would do for almost 2 years, there was a lot of A-list celebrities. I know you do. Oh. Thankfully, I get my humor from my father.
Oh, God.
If you haven't seen that video we posted, by the way, I interviewed my dad asking your questions about raising a blind daughter, and it was a lot of fun. Oh, thank you. I got to work with a lot of different celebrities, and I wasn't used to it. At this point in my life, I don't get starstruck really by anyone. A-list celebrities, A-list YouTubers. I don't really get enamored by anyone anymore because I've just met so many of them over the last almost 10 years of working in the entertainment industry and living in Los Angeles. Living in Los Angeles, you literally just casually see celebrities pretty much all the time, especially if you're in certain areas. For a brief period of time, I went to a church where literally it would be Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, everybody in between, just chilling. It was really awkward. One time I was sitting right behind Selena Gomez, and then a few seats down was Justin Bieber, and they obviously weren't there together. Just well after the breakup, and I was ooh, I feel the tension in the air. Between what I do and then just living in Los Angeles, celebrities is just a part of it. So I really don't get starstruck anymore, but I learned not to get starstruck by being so cringy and starstruck that I needed to learn to snap out of it. I also realized throughout working with so many celebrities that none of them have hidden unicorn horns or pea rainbows. They're all just simply human beings. And that was a really great life lesson. But I learned that through spending casual time with celebrities and being wow, they just kick off their shoes and eat some chicken like everyone else. Hashtag relatable. The first celebrity I ever met was Carl Wolf, which I really don't even know we could be oh, celebrity. It's Carl Wolf. I don't even know that half of you will know who that is. But he did the remake of I Bless the Rains Down in Africa in 2007, I think it was, or 2008. So that's Carl Wolf. I feel that's what he's most known for. I think he's Lebanese, so maybe in the Lebanon and stuff he's more popular. I'm not sure. Comment and let me know if you know who this is, okay? Anyways, he was the first celebrity I met, and what happened was it was the day before my first ever performance on tour, ever. So I was speaking to an audience of 20,000 in a stadium, and I had never done anything like this before, and I was at my sound check. They do a full run through of the entire thing the day before. I go up, I do my little thing, have my moment, and then I'm literally wearing slippers, by the way. I had slippers, leggings, and a work tee on with a company logo that Nelly Furtado had actually designed. Anyways, so I'm wearing this Nelly Furtado / my company, and I walk off stage, and there's this short hallway that's kind of a tunnel that you have to go through to get back to the rest of the backstage areas where all the dressing rooms and private changing rooms and green rooms are. I'm walking, and Carl Wolf, I'm 4'10" and a half, the half matters. Carl Wolf was probably 5'3", definitely on the short side for a male, and he comes running up to me, and he's like, "Hi, I just saw you perform and I wanted to introduce you to somebody. And he introduces himself. And he's there, not because he was performing, but because he was like managing a young rapper named Lil Jakes. LiljAxe. Lil Jakes. And Lil Jakes was 12, maybe 13. I was 18. And he runs up to introduce Lil Jakes to me because he thought we would make a cute couple. And I was like, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm 18. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought you were like 12. And I was like, flattering, really. It's very flattering. And it was funny because he then like changed his tune. I'm not gonna say he hit on me because he didn't, but it was like once he knew I was 18 and I wasn't gonna hook up with this little 13-year-old rapper, he was like, oh, maybe you should come hang out at my place. And I was like, no, it's okay.
How old is he?
I think in his like 40s maybe?
Oh,
30s?
a little too old.
Not in Hollywood, baby! Hollywood, you see it all. It is all about those. I remember going to a restaurant in Hollywood. I was on the red carpet at the Nickelodeon Halo Awards, and I was interviewing people. And I remember going to this restaurant. I stayed at the hotel called the Montage. I didn't pay for it. I couldn't afford that. A company flew me out and put me up. This was actually the first time I ever went to LA. The Montage is in Beverly Hills, and it's very shishi. Beautiful rooftop, and a lot of celebrities stay there. Catherine Zeta-Jones was staying there when I was there. Tons of Nickelodeon stars were staying there. It used to be Justin Bieber's one of his like favorite hangout spots, the rooftop. And across the street from the Montage is this very beautiful restaurant. And my client took me to this restaurant, and I remember the booths came up to like here. They were very high, so you could only see people from like eyes up. And I remember my assistant looking around, and I was like, what's it like in here? And she was like, you know, it's so weird because you just see like a lot of foreheads not moving. She's like, you just see no facial expression at all. It was just like, she's like, it's crazy. Like it really is a lot of like men in their 60s and 70s with girls in their 20s. And it was like very interesting. It does happen a lot in LA, you know, it's quite normal there. And there's nothing wrong with age gap relationships when they're both consenting adults, of course. Also, it's not, I don't know, there's love. But I see a lot of girls my age like affording an LA lifestyle by, you know, kind of like convincing them they love them, but they don't. I don't know. You know what? If you want to do that, you do you, be you. I couldn't do that in my heart. I need love. You know, that's just how I feel. But yeah, so that was really funny. I remember just being like, wow, what a situation to be in. Trying to get hooked up with a 13-year-old. But then my next celebrity I met, that same tour date, so my first ever tour, was Martin Sheen, who is a famous actor in his own right. And his son is Charlie Sheen, which I feel like a lot of people like know Martin Sheen through his son Charlie Sheen, because Charlie Sheen has gotten so much publicity over the last 10 years, but Martin Sheen is very talented in his own right. I spent a lot of time with Martin Sheen over those almost 2 years of touring. Such a freaking lovely man. Like the person you want to be your grandfather. So nice.
Probably love to hear that. Although he's a granddad now.
He's a granddad.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, but like literally so lovely. I remember he like really wanted to adopt my guide dog Gypsy when she retired. So every time we'd see each other, he'd like put in his plug. He'd be like, she can come live in California. I have a beautiful pool. And I was like, she hates swimming. And he's like, she never has to swim. Like he was just like so lovely. I really have a lot of fond memories with Martin Sheen. But I remember he came up to me and I was nervous because it was show day. And I was performing in the afternoon. It was the morning. And I meet him just casually in the halls. And we start chatting and he gave me like a little pep talk. He's like, you're gonna be just fine. Like just think of that one person in the audience that you need to speak to. That one person that needs to hear your message, and speak to them and forget everybody else because that's the only person that matters. And I was like, that stuck with me forevermore. So really nice guy, and he actually gave me a rosary, which I still have. It was very kind. But I remember then seeing him the next tour date, and I walk into his dressing room. And I don't know, like a lot of people are gonna hear this and not think it's cringy, but you had to be there because it felt very cringy. In fact, this was the very same day this was the day before this rehearsal day, so it was the day before the thing with Cody Simpson happened. This was an all-around very cringy time in my life because I was still getting used to being around celebrities. A, B, C list didn't matter. I had not been used to being around anybody even remotely famous or in the entertainment industry. So I remember walking into his dressing room the day before the big show and rehearsal day. I walk in and I was like, Martin Sheen! And I like said his whole name, and literally people snickered. Like people in the room snickered because it's weird, right? Like if you know me personally, you wouldn't walk into the room and go, Molly Burke. Like you would just say Molly. You wouldn't like call me by my full name. Like you wouldn't walk into somebody's, if you're friends with somebody or you've like had communication with them before, you don't like reference them by their full like name like they do.
It's so funny. I couldn't even imagine you doing that.
It was so cringy, Neve. I don't know. I was just really like, I didn't know how to behave. I just didn't know how to behave. Like I didn't know how to be human around these people.
Because that was your first star, I think you met.
Yeah, but this was like the second time meeting him. Like we had already had extensive conversation.
That makes more, yeah.
Which
so
is
you're excited.
Why it was cringy. Like I'm like, Martin Sheen!
Certainly sounded like you got your confidence by then.
Well, the thing, I think I was trying to be confident, right? Like I was trying to be like, oh, it's so casual. Me and Martin. Like I was just trying to act like I wasn't still starstruck. So I like just walk in and like I think I literally flung my arms out and went like, Martin Sheen! And like people like snickered and he was like, Molly! And I was just like, why didn't I just walk in and be like, Martin, so good to see you? You know, like just talk to him like he's human, Molly! Just talk to him like he's human. And I promise eventually I learned to after like seeing him enough times, but it was just so weird. Like I truly, literally people snickered. That's how weird it was in that moment. Don't do that. So yeah, I really did learn to treat these people like they were humans the more I realized that they're just humans. But I remember another like cringy celeb experience I had was actually that first show. The first ever show. I feel like by show 3, I was over it. But show 1 and 2, that's not true. My Demi Lovato moment was well after my first 2 shows. But that's a different level, you know? Anyway, so Nelly Furtado. I'm like a bird, I'm finally, I don't know. We know I love her. Anyway, so
we need a bird flying across the screen.
The first show ever, they asked, you know, like, oh, who do you want to meet? And I wanted to meet Nelly Furtado because I grew up listening to her music. So they bring me into her dressing room. And it was really funny because she ordered protein. The big celebs were able to basically like ask for anything they wanted at any time, and they had runners dedicated to going to grab these things. So she wanted like a protein shake, and what did they bring her? A breast of boiled chicken. She wanted a protein shake and herbal tea. So they bring an assortment of herbal tea and a breast of boiled chicken.
Oh my god.
So funny. And so I guess the person just heard she wanted protein and didn't hear protein shake. So anyways, they had to like run out to grab it. So she's sitting in her dressing room with a piece of boiled chicken and a bunch of herbal teas. She gets into the dressing room and I'm there. And she kicks off her shoes. She has these huge high heels on. She kicks them off and she's like my height, maybe a little taller, like 5 foot. Maybe 5'1". She's a petite gal. And she was just so sweet. But again, it was like, other than Carl Wolf, it was the second celebrity I'd ever met. And I was just weird, you know? Like, I just didn't know how to talk. I just remember, like, when I look back at it, I'm like, Molly, just be normal. Like, I was just so, I just really love you. I just, your music's so great. Like, I don't know. I just didn't know how to be normal. And I always think it's sweet when, like, followers approach me and are really emotional and excited, but I also really value when a follower comes up to me and we just have like a really great conversation. Because really, I talk to you guys like you're my friends because I feel like the reason you watch me is because you're like me in some way. And I know that most of my audience is 18 to 34-year-old women. And I like to think that you guys, like in real life, we'd have a lot in common. You know, we would connect. So it's always fun when I get to meet you guys, and that is the experience. I get to just like have a really great conversation with you. As I mentioned in my PTSD story that I did recently, like I went on to speak at Nelly Furtado's birthday. I like.
You did?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Where were you? What?
Home? At home? I didn't work with you then.
Yeah, my mom didn't work with me, by the way, at the time. I had a full-time assistant that was not Neve Burke.
No
Yeah,
one's as good as Neve Burke.
know.
No one's as good as Neve Burke.
So she likes to believe.
You had a great time last year with your assistant.
No, I did. I had 2 great assistants, 1 total flop. We don't need to talk about that one.
Oh, yes. Yes, your 2 wonderful ones, yeah. And
Real rough patch in between.
yes.
Yeah, I just was weird. I just, like, there was nothing in particular that stands out in my mind that I did. I just remember being, like, incredibly weird. Like, just not knowing how to talk. And
But you were really young.
I was just, like I said, 18, never worked with celebs.
Being in
But it was a
school.
great experience. Demi Lovato was super I met Demi Lovato a number of times, but one of the times in particular, hella cringy. So if you want to hear my Demi Lovato story, let me know. I'm a big Demi fan, and have been for a long time, which is totally why that experience was so awkward and cringy. Even though at that point I was like much better at interacting with celebrities, I had no chill. I had a lot of chill, but it was fake chill, fully fake chill. And like I was literally so freaking cringy. Yeah, give this a thumbs up if you want the Demi story. Also, if you haven't seen her docuseries, her new docuseries, Dancing with the Devil, here on YouTube, please watch it because I think it's so important. I think it's so important for so many reasons. So check that out. I'm trying to think, what was another one? God, I've had so many. Austin Mahone, I had a weird one with him. That was actually at the Nickelodeon thing, at the rooftop after party. That was such a fun after party. I've gone to have, honestly, so many incredible experiences, and if I never have any more again...
You're fine.
I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
I've had enough to fill me for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I've been so blessed. And all of this was before YouTube. Like, none of that had anything to do with YouTube. And I've only gotten to continue to have amazing experiences since YouTube. And thank you guys for like empowering me to live a life that I could have only dreamed of. And I pinch myself all the time. I'm so grateful. So anyways, I don't know. That's all I'm here to share with you today. Maybe it wasn't that interesting. I look back on these times really fondly. A lot of memories. Yeah, so that's that. Let me know what other stories you guys want to hear from me, like mini story times like this, anything else. Sorry I was a little loopy today. It's a Friday, you know? What can you do? I got those.
And you're just over your headache, so you're feeling
Yes.
probably good.
I had a massive headache all day, and matcha was the only thing that took it away. Step aside, extra strength Advil. Matcha is here to save the day. So thank you, Starbucks. Okay, I hope you guys all have a fabulous weekend ahead. Speaking of Starbucks, head over to my Instagram. I post interesting videos there every single week that I don't post anywhere else. So check that out. I posted one yesterday trying a bunch of summery Starbucks drinks, and it was a massive success. Also, check out my TikTok. I also post content there daily that doesn't get posted anywhere else. So if you're not following all my other platforms, you definitely are missing out on more than this in your life. And really, who doesn't want that, right? I know. Okay, I love you guys. Check out this video for more Molly or this one over here, and I will see you on Tuesday. Bye.